What's poppin' T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea All Shade, Waka and Tammy. What the Flocka Season 2 Episode 2 review. Okay, so on last night's episode, Charlie prepared for her quinceañera. She's practicing her dance routine. Waka and Tammy are there. Also, her girlfriend is there. She's turning 15 years old. It is a special occasion for a young girl. Waka, however, is struggling with her growing up. You know, most fathers do struggle with their daughter coming into womanhood. She and Waka practiced the waltz, and it was just the cutest little thing ever because he a nigga, he come from the streets. That nigga don't know how to two step, let alone waltz, but he's setting aside, his feelings to do it for her. And I just love that, he loves and cares for Charlie so much, especially considering the fact that he's not her biological father, but he has stepped up to be that for her. And I just love that. So Tammy regrets giving up her own quinceanera to stay at home with Charlie's dad when she was that age. She could have went to Vegas to have her own. Um, but she chose to stay back and be with him. And when you're young, you think you in love and you just all wrapped up in the dude. You want to spend every waking moment with him. I remember being that same way as a young girl, and you give up a lot, and that's something that she gave up, and that she's really trying to make sure that she gives to her, her daughter, so she can have these memories to have as a young lady and as an older woman, is something that she could pass on to her own children. So, Tammy and Walker talk about Charlie's dad showing up. She suggests that if he does show up, that Walker and him split the father-daughter dance. But Walker was like, he can have that. He's her father. And I think that that was very big of Walker to set aside his own emotions and feelings because he's the one that's there on an everyday basis raising her. But to still be like, you know what? That's her father. Let him have that moment. I have her every day. If, let him have that. And Tammy was like, she told me a long time ago that she would want to start the dance off with him, but end it with you since you're the one that has always been there for her. And I love and appreciate the fact that Charlie is mature enough to see that and to want to share that moment with both men, even though one of them hasn't been as present as the other one. The fact that she's still open enough to want to have that moment with her biological father is very big of her because Kyrese would have never. Kyrese would have been like, fuck that nigga. So Tammy talks to Charlie and she asks her, like, what is she as far as what kind of lesbian is she? She was like, are you a lipstick lesbian? Are you femme? And Charlie was like, I'm a femme. And Tammy was like, is dyke offensive? And Charlie was like, yeah. So Tammy was like, so it would be offensive if I call uh I think the little girl name was Emiliana a dyke. And I was like, Tammy, how do you not know that that's offensive to call somebody a dyke? Like, what the hell? So Charlie was like, yeah, it's offensive. She's a stud. So I like that she was asking those questions so she could be, correcting her verbiage or whatever. Um, because my brother actually just schooled me. We just had a conversation and he was telling me that, when it comes to a man that likes to dress as a woman or whatever, just always refer to that person as a her or a she. Use that pronoun instead of a he. Just to be on the safe side. Because I was like, some people don't look at themselves as a woman just because they dress up in women's clothes. They still like to be called, he or whatever. So that was a learning experience for me. So I'm happy that, she's asking those questions, but I'm like, I would think that she would know that using the word dyke is offensive. I see it on my channel for jokes and giggles, but never to be harmful to anyone. So, uh, Tammy was like, "Are you comfortable with everybody knowing about your sexuality?" And Charlie was like, "Yeah, you already told everybody anyway. Like, what the hell is that for me to be ashamed of?" And at this day and age, I think that it's easier probably for kids to come out than it was when I was growing up. It's still probably very hard, don't get me wrong, but I think that it's starting to be normalized more with people, realizing that homosexuality is not a sin. It's not something dirty that needs to be hidden away in the closet. Some people are still very backwards minded when it comes to the subject. But it's just like, what does it matter to you? Like, people out here sinning every goddamn day, whether they having the sex with a married man or having sex before marriage, or all kind of nasty ass shit people be out here doing. And at the end of the day, it don't matter. It don't matter. I don't give a goddamn if you want another girl to eat your twat. I don't give a goddamn if you like to get dicked in your ass. I don't give a fuck. It has nothing to do with me, and it has nothing to do with you as a person. So it's just like, ugh, get over it, folks. But anywho, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So, Charlie's Tammy was like, "So you've been gay this whole time?" And Charlie was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I had my first girlfriend in the seventh grade," and I think a lot of people misconstrued and think that, oh, I just woke up one day and was like, I think I like girls today, or I think I like boys today. At a very young age, me being somebody who was raised in a household with my brother who is gay, I knew when we were kids that he was different. I didn't know what to call it or label it, but we were children, and I knew that it was something different about him. So I think that people need to get that out of their head, that people don't know at a young age. Just like I knew at a young age, I like dick. I knew as a little girl that I wanted the D. Um, so Charlie says in her confessional that people call Tammy a disgrace for letting her wear rainbow flag shoes. So she was afraid to come out at first, but now she doesn't care. And I'm happy that she finally got comfortable within herself and her sexuality, not to give a fuck what people think, because people gonna talk about you to the day you die, whether you do good or bad, child. So Tammy was like, "So you really okay if your biological father isn't there?" And Charlie was like, "I don't care anymore." But it's obvious she cares. She's just saying that to protect herself for the disappointment if he does not show. And that's sad that she has to protect herself in that way, especially against somebody who's supposed to love and be there for her. So Waka is annoyed that Tammy has spent $30,000 on this quinceanera. But it's a once in a lifetime thing, for a young lady. And if y'all got it, it ain't hurt nothing. Go ahead and spend it. Now, if it was 50, 60, 70, 80,000, $100,000, I'd be like, Tammy, get somewhere and sit down. But 30 G's, you can pick that back up in one concert or something, or that could be your show check for the day. Like, okay. So he goes suit shopping and picks out a Nipsey blue suit, which I love. Deb and his brother meet him there, and Waka says that, Tammy lives through Charlie and wants her to be so perfect, so she thinks for her and not with her. And this is an issue for me because you can't live through your child. You have to let your children be who they are. Just because you didn't get to experience certain things, or you wish you could have did this or did this a different way, you can't put that kind of pressure on your children, and you can't put the pressure on your kids to be perfect, because nobody's perfect. Just because you might do things this way does not mean that your child is going to do things that way. You can't put your shit off on them. Um so Deb asked him, does he think her dad will just pop up? And he was like, he better not just pop up, or I'm gonna pop that nigga in the mouth. Um, so Waka takes Charlie driving, and she's horrible at it. She needs all the work. Charlie wants a G Wagon, but will settle for a Jeep. And I'm like, girl, the entitlement there. Waka wants her to get a probation card so she could earn the Jeep. But Tammy, he said, is very much different. She just likes to give, and there is no work there. And I agree with Waka. She needs a probation card, because a little girl can't drive for shit, and she shouldn't just be handed everything. She should have to work for certain things that she wants so she can value it more. Um, I often end up agreeing more with Waka than I do Tammy when it comes to raising Charlie. Um, so Tammy is out with her mom, and her bestie Takira joins them, and they talk about the Kinsey, and Tammy's brother's coming in, but she wishes Charlie dad would get out his feelings against her and Waka to be there for Charlie. And it's sad that, just because he has issues with Tammy or doesn't like Tammy or mad or whatever the case may be, that you would let that get in the way of you and your child. But niggas do that every day. I've dealt with it with my own situation. And it's very sad because you're not hurting me. You're hurting my child. And that hurts me. You know what I'm saying? And it's just sad and unfortunate you would forego a relationship with your kid just because you mad at the mama. Like, oh my God, just so trifling. So, all of a sudden Charlie walks up crying. I mean, she's boohoo crying, talking about her Aunt Joy on her father's side of the family, and she's just really distraught because every birthday she would get a call from her, and this is the first time that she won't get a call from her because the lady has passed on, and she's just in tears, bawling. And Tammy comforted her, and she was concerned. But I didn't like the fact that her mom was the one that continued to comfort her and talk to her and cheer her up. And Tammy just stayed there with the best friend in the scene and kept on eating. That was weird to me. Like, go check on your daughter. She's hysterically crying. Like, why are you just still sitting there at the table eating with your girlfriend? That was very weird to me. I did not get that at all. Um, so Tammy's sister Becky, who is beautiful by the way, and her best friend Takira is very pretty, but her sister Becky is extremely cute. I loved all those freckles and moles all over her face. She's in the car with Charlie, and she says, Charlie, you should reach out to your dad to see if he's coming, because I've lost my dad, and you should just try. And I don't like when people do that to kids. Like, don't put the kid in a situation to have to be the parent. It is the parent's job to be there for the child. I shouldn't be the one that has to always reach out to you and put myself out there for you to then hurt me. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be there for me. I didn't ask you to nut my mama and bring me into this world. You did that. So do what you're supposed to do as a parent and parent me, God damn it. It shouldn't be always put up to the kids to make the first move and do this, that, and the third. Like, I don't like that. So Charlie was like, I wouldn't mind him coming because if I didn't want him there, I wouldn't have asked him there in the first place. So if she's asked him, she's put it out there, it's not up to her to keep on calling him, are you gonna come? Are you gonna come? He should want to fucking be there. Like, come on now. So it's the day of the King's Day, and the decor was beautiful. It was a Beauty and the Beast theme. You could tell the money was well spent. Charlie and Emiliana arrive in a Rolls Royce. She looked really pretty, age appropriate. Um, Waka loves her look, says she looked like a princess. Charlie makes her grand entrance and does her routine. She looked like she was scared out of her mind, but she did a great job. Emiliana gives a speech and calls her a woman, and Tim was like, a child. She was like, no, she's a woman. No, she ain't a woman. She's a young lady. She ain't no woman yet, child. Sit down, Emiliana. So Emiliana tells Charlie that she loves her, and it was just very sweet because you could tell they really care for one another. Walker gives his speech and says he doesn't want her to grow up, and this looked too much like a wedding, and that she's the best thing that ever happened to him. And Charlie and Tammy start crying, and Tammy gives her speech and says that Charlie has made all the hardships she's ever faced in life worth it. And I'm just bawling, crying because it just was giving me all the feels. And I was like, ain't nobody got time to be in here crying and shit in the middle of the goddamn day. Charlie changes into a yellow ball gown for the dance with Waka. Deb arrives late. And I'm like, Deb, why the hell your ass late? Tammy praises Waka for dancing with Charlie because, she know he a nigga and this is very uncomfortable for him. Charlie cries, though, in the midst of their dance because her dad didn't show up for her and it hurt her. It would hurt any young lady that you couldn't even show up for me this one time. But I love the fact that Walker was there for her and was like, I know that's why you're crying. I know that's why it hurts you, but you know, we're not gonna let this bother us today. And I love that he was there for her in that moment. And she will always remember that he was there for her when she most needed him. And fuck that punk pussy ass daddy of hers. And then I was just in here crying my little heart out because Tammy's song Charlie was playing. And it just reminded me so much of me and Kyrese and our relationship. And I was just like, I ain't got time for all this crying and boo-hooing and bullshit. Like, fuck this shit. I'm glad this shit is off so I can stop crying. So that was my review of Waka and Tammy with the Flocka. It was a great episode. I give it a B+. Let me know what you thought about their episode down below in the comments section. Have you ever gone through anything that Charlie has gone through, or from a parent's point of view, being the mother of a child whose father isn't there, or a father who's raising a child and the mama ain't there, and you having to deal with the disappointment? Let's talk down below in the comment section. Let me know some of your stories. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell button, and I will see you guys on the next review. Bye.